I am a liberal arts master's graduate from the class of 2025. From last year's fall recruitment to this year's spring recruitment, I have been unable to secure a job as of April. I have submitted around 8,000 resumes and attended every job fair during the fall recruitment season. Employers may think I am a bit too old, or perhaps it's because I majored in liberal arts. Finding a job has been extremely difficult. The United States plans to raise tariffs on China to 145% and suspend reciprocal tariffs for 90 days on countries that have not retaliated against the U.S., hoping to jointly contain the CCP after negotiations. In response, the CCP is determined to fully confront the U.S. tariff policy. The U.S. and Chinese economies are decoupling, and this has a more severe impact on China. It is expected that many companies will go bankrupt and the unemployment rate will worsen. Previous reports have noted that many unemployed people are surviving by collecting garbage. Today we will discuss related topics. Recently, the Sino-US shipping market has undergone significant changes. On April 10th, almost no cargo ships bound for the United States were seen at Shanghai port, a stark contrast to the previous shipping boom. In the coming month, 26 voyages on the Sino-US route are scheduled to be canceled, reducing shipping capacity by nearly 40%. Some goods exported from China to the U.S. were already loaded, but due to the high tariffs, buyers ended up canceling their orders. Why raise tariffs to 145% instead of 125%? Due to the U.S. tariff hikes, China's export orders to the U.S. have dropped sharply. Reports indicate that some Chinese exporters have begun abandoning their goods mid-transport, dumping containers on shipping companies to avoid the sky-high tariffs. One listed company revealed that its daily shipments have plunged from 40 to 50 containers to just 3 to 6 containers. Importers would rather abandon the goods than pick up the containers, as the tariffs now exceed the value of the goods. Industry insiders warn that Sino-US trade may soon enter a deep freeze. Since the U.S. imposed tariffs, the shipping market to the U.S. has become bleak. The cost of transporting a 40-foot container from Shanghai to Los Angeles is now only 1,600 CNY and about 2,700 CNY to New York, so low that it shows ship owners are unable to attract cargo. This time, the tariff increase is comprehensive, covering all goods transported to the U.S. factories, and traders are waiting to see if new policies will be introduced. It's possible that the increases may be rolled back in a month or two. Among the three main drivers of China's economy, two have already stalled. Domestic demand is weak and investment is sluggish. Now, foreign trade is the only engine still running. China currently maintains a $300 billion trade surplus with the United States. If U.S.-China trade decouples, more Chinese companies will go bankrupt, causing mass unemployment and making life even harder for ordinary people. Many now lament that life is not easy. Recently, Beijing experienced extremely strong winds. Some companies gave employees time off, but many delivery workers continued working in dangerous conditions. Dear audience, we are now on South Ring Road in Changping, one of the main streets of Changping City. As you can see, the wind has intensified. The road is empty, and there is a fallen tree branch on the side. Let's pick it up. Reporter: Master, you're still delivering food in such strong winds? Delivery man: I don't have money to spend. Reporter: I saw several people struggling to ride in the wind. Are you okay? Delivery man: When riding in strong winds, you just ride slowly and wait for the wind to die down before continuing. China's labor law stipulates an 8-hour workday, but in many industries, 8 hours of work a day is not enough to cover basic living expenses. To better understand the living conditions of food delivery riders, a blogger registered as a writer and worked in the industry. He noted the intense competition. During his investigation, he observed that many riders must work more than 10 hours a day to make ends meet. Many delivery workers said they didn't have to work this long before, but the per-order payment has been dropping. While delivering food himself, he also noticed that the platform's algorithm drives excessive internal competition, pushing even those who don't want to overwork into doing so. The per-order rate has dropped from 9 CNY to just 2.5 to 3.5 CNY, yet many people are still rushing to take orders. It's not easy for delivery workers, and it's not easy for college graduates either. This blogger has a master's degree in liberal arts. She hasn't been able to find a job and feels like her life is hopeless. She said, "I don't know whether it's because of the harsh environment or my own shortcomings. During my graduate studies, I won awards, including national scholarships and various research and design prizes. I also worked on design projects for the provincial government with my mentor. But after graduation, I still couldn't find a job. My parents have supported me for so many years and given me so much. I feel ashamed to face them. I don't even dare to contact them. I've tried all kinds of jobs now. It's really hard. I feel anxious and can't sleep. I try to keep myself busy every day. I feel like my life is over. There's no one to talk to, so I can only open up a little on the internet. Blogger Aki graduated in 2024. He had a job before, and back then, he thought videos online talking about job difficulties were just clickbait. He believed that anyone with hands, feet, and a sound mind should be able to find a job. Worst case, they could work in sales. But after being laid off in January, he realized how tough the job market really is. He said, "The current job market is abnormal. After I was fired, I started job hunting in Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Dongguan. Over 2 months, I interviewed with more than a dozen companies, but only got one offer, and it was the very first one. I used to work in after-sales support for the medical industry. That job offered 4,500 yuan a month, 1 day off per week, and no food or lodging. I laughed after the interview. I didn't want to go to that company. Why is it so hard to find a job in Guangzhou? I've been here for more than half a month. Now the job apps seem broken. No companies are reaching out to me for interviews. I thought that in a first-tier city like this, there would at least be better pay and more opportunities. But the reality is the opposite. Maybe it's because of the market this year, or maybe for some other reason. But the pay is low, the workload is high, and prices are expensive. One day, I asked for some grilled tofu, and they wanted 7 or 8 yuan for it, so I walked away. When you come here, you realize that you can't even afford tofu, and you can't find a job either. I spent 3 years in college, came to Guangdong with a backpack, and this is what I get." He continued, "I just saw a man in his 30s picking up trash near a garbage bin. He had a whole bag of empty bottles. I was really moved. What kind of situation would force a man in his 30s or 40s to make a living by collecting trash? He must really be unemployed, unable to find work, and struggling to eat. These days, it feels humiliating to be job hunting in your 30s. Big companies are laying off staff, and some are even shutting down. I used to work in education, and it's very hard to transition after losing that job. Now, there are only 3 options: open a spicy hot pot shop, start an e-commerce business, or try being a content creator. But all 3 are just gambling. Only about 10% succeed. The rest become cannon fodder. You just have to pick one and take your chances." Yesterday, I chatted with an e-commerce boss. He said he couldn't hire anyone now because labor costs were too high. So, what does he do? He makes people pay to work. If you want to work for him, you have to pay a tuition fee first. He'll teach you, and if you can do the job, you join the team and get access to his resources. But if you can't, it's useless for him to give you anything, and he doesn't want to pay you either. When I heard that, I felt so sad. Things have come to this point. How much can someone born in the 1990s make by picking up garbage for 3 days instead of working? Today, let's look at the reality. Last night, I spent 2 hours collecting trash in this corner. Plastic bottles, cans, and paper all had to be sorted. Without a big bag, it's really hard. You can see the elevator is full of them. Scrap collector. Look at the color. This one is worth 1 yuan. That one is 70 cents. Altogether, it's 21 yuan. I'll give you one more. So 22 yuan. You can earn 22 yuan in 3 days, enough to buy a pound of meat. Are you willing to do this? Another failure of Mr. Xi. Hengqin Island is like an empty city. On the 25th anniversary of Macau's return, Xi Jinping, the leader of the Communist Party of China, reiterated the development positioning of the Hengqin Guangdong-Macau Deep Cooperation Zone. However, Hengqin's past achievements have been questioned, with many considering it an unfinished project and a dead city. On December 20th, Xi Jinping attended the 25th anniversary of Macau's sovereignty handover. During the event, he specifically mentioned Hengqin, claiming that the central government decided to develop Hengqin to promote the moderate diversification of Macau's economy. Hengqin Island, located in the southern part of Guangdong Province, is adjacent to Macau and Zhuhai City. It is currently jointly governed by the Macau Special Administrative Region and Guangdong Province. In 2009, during an inspection of Macau, Xi Jinping announced plans to develop Hengqin Island. And in September 2021, the Guangdong-Macau Deep Cooperation Zone was established. However, 15 years later, Hengqin Island remains an empty city. Tang Jingyuan, a current affairs commentator based in the United States, remarked, "During the Deng Xiaoping era, many development zones were established, which seemed to be relatively successful special zones. However, this success was not due to the CCP's own abilities or brilliant policies. It relied mainly on attracting foreign capital and technology. The CCP temporarily gained some dividends by adopting methods like breeding, killing, and copying these technologies, using curve overtaking strategies. Xi Jinping, however, is under a huge illusion, believing the CCP can succeed on its own. Projects like the current Hengqin Development Zone are ultimately failures and remain unfinished. China's economy continues to be sluggish, and concerns about the future are growing. Despite this, the CCP government emphasizes that the economy is on a recovery trend. The self-media outlet Lansa uploaded a video comparing Hengqin's changes from last year to this year. The video highlighted numerous unfinished buildings, and many retail businesses on the streets have closed down. Some netizens commented that over the past year, the Hengqin checkpoint has remained unfinished, and those affected have no way to lodge complaints. Departments push responsibility onto one another, leaving victims frustrated. In a place without laws, who dares to invest? Discussions about Xi Jinping's major achievements during his tenure are ongoing. Chinese netizens have voted on a list of unfinished projects under Xi, with the top 3 being the 10 trillion chip projects, One Belt, One Road, and Xi'an New Area. Other unfinished projects include the Beijing Stock Exchange, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Made in China 2025, the 1,000 Talents Plan, real estate, poverty alleviation projects, energy conservation and carbon reduction initiatives, and 21 free trade zones.
In recent years, China's economy has continued to decline. Impacted by the real estate industry, the banking sector is now in crisis. Recently, several bank branches in China have faced difficulties with cash withdrawals, leading to dissatisfaction among depositors. Regarding the reduction of bank card transfer limits, many users believe that banks are deliberately making it harder for funds to flow out by setting such limits. According to a recent report by Shell Finance of the Beijing News, many bank card users reported that their bank card limits were restricted without their knowledge. Some people visited bank branches to increase their credit limits in order to use their bank cards normally, but some cardholders ultimately gave up using them altogether. Since the second half of this year, numerous banks have issued announcements stating they will adjust the non-counter transaction limits of some personal bank settlement accounts. These announcements mentioned financial institutions such as the Bank of China, China Construction Bank, Agricultural Bank of China, and Jiangxi Bank. Regarding the reduction of bank card transfer limits, many users believe this is a deliberate move by banks to prevent funds from flowing out by setting strict limits. However, bank personnel explained that the measure primarily aims to prevent telecommunications fraud. Despite this, all affected bank card users reported that their non-counter transfer limits were lowered without notification, and the bank did not send SMS notifications became a common complaint. One affected user, Li Yun, said she did not expect her salary card to be suddenly restricted. In July this year, she originally planned to withdraw reimbursement funds from the Bank of China, tens of thousands of yuan, but both the transfer and ATM withdrawal failed because the daily transfer limit was exceeded. Unexpectedly, another Jiangxi Bank Class 1 card under her name, primarily used for mortgage payments, was also restricted in July and August. Li Yun had used these 2 bank cards for many years without previously encountering any transfer or ATM withdrawal limits. However, both banks had now set a daily mobile transfer limit of 2,000 yuan on her cards without notifying her. Li Yun said, "The Bank of China staff initially told me to go to the branch with my ID to handle it. But when I arrived at the branch near my home, they said I needed to visit the branch where I opened the account. She couldn't complete the process that day because the branch was closed, and it took her a month to successfully increase her credit limit. According to a report by Shanghai radio and television station Cancan News on the 14th, recently, some bank card users reported that their personal bank card transfer limits were reduced without their knowledge. Some users said they could not even transfer 1,000 yuan. These customers believe that banks are limiting non-counter transactions to prevent funds from leaving. In January this year, Zhupai News reported that a woman in Pingdingshan City, Henan Province, said her sister had transferred money to her and asked her to withdraw 5,000 yuan for a New Year's red envelope, but she encountered issues while withdrawing the money at Zhongyuan Bank. Ms. Wang, the individual involved, said that the staff initially asked her to download an anti-fraud app, and she cooperatively answered all their questions. However, they began asking more personal questions, including where her sister worked and where she had worked previously, and even asked her to prove her sister was a biological relative. After calling the police, it took nearly 2 hours to complete the withdrawal. Similarly, according to Poster News, a woman in Jiangxi posted on social media that she went to a bank with 100,000 yuan in cash for a fixed deposit, but the bank staff unexpectedly asked about the origin of the money. The woman said she thought, "Why does it matter where my money comes from? Just follow my instructions." She felt it made her look like she had stolen the money. When she asked why they questioned her, they responded that it was bank policy. In response, some netizens commented, "The banking system really needs reform. The service attitude varies greatly. When depositing money, they treat you like a VIP, but when withdrawing, it's a different story."